Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Alkebulan Village ACE Academy. ACE is an acronym for African-Centered Education. So every second Saturday, we bring in an expert from the community to talk on a topic and present on that topic from an African-centered education perspective. So this Saturday, we have with us someone who is a very deep level expert in the area of nutrition, a naturopathic doctor, someone who has run a business in that field for over 30 years or maybe more, a holistic guru in our community who humbly shares his wisdom and his experience so that folks can take it to the next level as it relates to their health, and then turning their health work into a meaningful income revenue source. So the person I'm talking about is Dr. Jesse Brown, and his presentation this morning is called Eating Good. I'd like to give you, I'd like for you all to give him a warm welcome and give him your full undivided attention. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you, Brother Greg, and glad to be here at the Alkebulan Village, a place that's been key and instrumental in the lives of the community and particularly youth for a very long time. Okay? So we're going to talk about eating good a bit, but we're also going to talk about what I call the C's of success. But a little bit more information about me. Yes, I started Detroit Holistic Center in 1987. I've been working in the field for over 30 years, providing holistic health support, services, education to the community, to over 60,000 people over the years. We've done radio and cable and so many different venues. So the part of the business and the part of these efforts many people know about, it would primarily be our holistic health services, which have been helpful for cleansing and detox and helping people to lose weight and improve their health overall. But the part that people don't know as much about is the training and the education. I believe it's necessary for us to have what we call empowerment, employment, and entrepreneurship. Empowerment in terms of what can we do for ourselves and our family members, and then employment. It's important for us to make money in this field as well. We're talking about a $200+ billion industry, and which is natural products and something that we can take advantage of to empower our community, to strengthen our community, to provide financial resources for all the things we want to do, socially, culturally, economically, educationally. There's so much that we can do if we have the finances, we have the capability of doing those things. And there are big disparities within our community. We have health disparities. People of color, African Americans in particular, have higher rates of many chronic diseases, heart disease, cancer, certain cancers, high blood pressure, diabetes, and we're getting sicker sooner and dying more often. So we need to address that. Absolutely need to address that. We also have wealth disparities, where our net income, the value in the average African American family is a fraction of what it is with other communities. So guess what? I believe that we can do things that close the health gap and close the wealth gap. And some of these things can be done simultaneously. Because the number one reason why people lose their wealth, the number one reason why Americans lose their wealth, number one reason why African Americans are losing their wealth and are going bankrupt is because they lose their health. So we need to absolutely need to focus in on our health to sustain our wealth. Because there's only a couple of ways that you're going to achieve wealth. You're going to improve things for yourselves, your family members, and future generations. And that is if you're alive and healthy enough to earn the money, and then two, that you're here and alive long enough to enjoy it. Okay, because it builds. We may know about stocks and all types of things. You may put your money into investments, but those investments only pan out over time, and if we are alive. So first, I'm going to address health, and so eating good is something that we oftentimes do not do as people. It's like major health disparities. Here you have the original people, the only people who were brought to the United States unwillingly. Okay? The people who came from Africa, people who came from Alkebulan, from the motherland, were the healthiest specimens there. You know, when slave traders, were there, they weren't looking for anyone sick. So if someone was sick, if they were weak, if they didn't look like they could not make it, they did not even get selected. So you had the healthiest people were selected, and then making it through the Middle Passage for those what could be months from Africa to either the Caribbean or the Americas, you had to be healthy people, right? So the people who were unwilling, unable, who were sick, who had contracted diseases from the horrendous conditions, the lack of food and the diseases that occurred, those people who survived that were the strongest. They were strong, they were healthy. And those people who made it to the Americas or and into the Caribbean and other places, and survived the brutality of slavery, the long days working from KC to Cane, or what they call Cane to Cane, KC in the morning to KC at night. Okay, working before the sun went up, came up to after the sun went down. Those people were very strong. So how did it come to be that the strongest people that survived all these atrocities, much less Jim Crow and subsequent abuses, how is it that we became the weakest? We should be concerned about that and realize that if the strongest people have now become the sickest, then we've got a major problem. We've got to do something about it. So eating good and such is about it's about taking care of ourselves. It's about making different choices that are going to enable us to break generational curses for health and for wealth. That's what we're talking about. So I'm going to share some of the things that I have shared with my clients and with the community for a very long time. And that is at the foundation of what we're doing and need to do. We need to make better choices. We need to eat from what I call the Garden of Eden instead of the Garden of Eatin. Now, in the Garden of Eden, or the proverbial Garden of Eden, is mentioned in the Bible or mentioned in Scripture. We hear about is really, eating from the garden is eating a plant-based diet. It's plant-based. It means if it comes from a plant, we eat it. If it is processed in a plant, we avoid it. We are not eating, say individually and collectively, we're not eating enough fruits and vegetables and things that come from the earth. See, when we came to the Americas, in Africa, and when we came to the Americas, we were growing our own food. We were farmers. We were the people who were building and again toiling the soil. And so primarily what we ate was from the soil. It was from plants. It was our potatoes and tomatoes, and I mean, all the things that come from, from the earth, all our vegetables, our fruits, all those things. It was fresh, it was local, it was natural, and it was, it was picked at the time that it was ripe, and we ate that. And that was primarily what we ate. We didn't eat from a fast food restaurant. We didn't have a lot of meats. There was nobody who could, if you grew chickens, you couldn't slaughter a chicken every day or every other day and everybody get half a chicken. You wouldn't have any chickens. You wouldn't have anything to sell. You wouldn't have the eggs and things that the chickens produce. So we ate primarily a plant-based diet. And when we ate a plant-based diet, and then we were more healthy. Our bodies were able to endure long hours of labor, toil, and labor. We thought better. We felt better. Our weight was in better control. We healed faster. So our primary objective is to go back to a plant-based diet. Now we got away from some of that because at one time people would say, "Oh, you can't afford to eat meat. You can't afford to have meat." Well, in one sense, the meats and things like that were definitely more expensive than the plants that you could grow. And secondly, it's those things were not, so those things were not as abundant. And so we got a lot of the cast-offs. So Black people eating pig ears and chitlins and all kinds of things. Those things were cast-offs that the white man or the slave owner or somebody didn't eat, didn't want. Okay, we could cow tongue, whatever. Okay, so we would have that, but we would have that more as flavoring. We would eat, in some places they still eat chicken feet and other things like that. But a lot of that was flavoring for the food, and that was not the majority of what our diet comprised of. So number one tip is a plant-based diet. Okay, it is eating from plants as fresh as the least processed as possible, to have a lot of raw foods, to give us the energy that we need. These are the living foods. These are the living things that we need for our live bodies. Okay? And fortunately, more people are getting to that. And we find that our athletic performance, our energy, our stamina, our ability to stave off diseases improves dramatically. Our avoidance of diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, certain forms of cancers decreases. Our ability to recover increases as we adopt and have more of a plant-based diet. Okay, so if you don't want to be planted in the ground, then you need to eat plant-based. And a key with that, without going into, well, this has vitamin A and this has vitamin K and C and D and E and all those types of things. I'm not going to do that. Say the simplest way of looking at this and the simplest way of applying this is to look at your plate, is to look at what you have during the day. And does it have a variety of colors? Every color represents say it represents different organs, but it also represents different nutritional aspects. Red, whether it's red, yellow, green, purple, black, whatever the color. Every color has different nutrients within it. So we need to have variety. And by the way, brown is not a color. So the brown meat's not a color. You got, but pretty much all the other colors would be included in that. And when you do that, then you have your green peppers, your red peppers, your yellow peppers, your spinach, your broccoli, you have all these different things. You have your mushrooms, you have all these different things that would constitute a well-balanced meal. See, no animal in nature says, okay, I'm going to go over here and eat this food because it has this vitamin in it. They eat a variety of things. They tend to eat it simply. They eat from nature. They don't eat hamburgers and hot dogs. And so, and if they did, they would get human diseases. So we need to eat more like our natural native self, more like we would do in, again, the Garden of Eden, an island or someplace that, before we had stoves and refrigerators and all that, and whatever, frying pans and, and these types of things. So one is plant-based. Two, so I kind of transitioned into the preparation methods. Microwaving, I never microwave. I recommend you not microwave anything, including water. The energetics, and at another time I'll talk about the energetics of food and the importance of that. But microwave, no. Slow cooking is better. Raw, in most cases, is best. Slowly prepared, gradually, prepared. When you cook something, you don't have to put it on high. Almost the longer it takes for something to cook, or the more slowly that it takes to cook something, the better. And then some things need to be undercooked. The days of having broccoli and having foods that have high fiber, where you could mash it with a fork. You don't want to have to mash it. You're not a baby. You don't have to mash it like baby food. Baby who doesn't have their teeth fully in order to have it. You want to have some crunch to it. You want to have some substitute. You want to have, when you bite it, you want to bite into something. That constitutes, or that says there's a certain amount of fiber that's in it, which is the part of food that's important for your digestion, that's important for bulking, that's important for your elimination. It's important for not one, providing the nutrients, and then two, getting rid of the waste that would otherwise be in your digestive system or in your body that needs to be carried out. Fiber does that. So we got a food, and then we got a fiber, okay? And then when we have adequate amounts of water along with that food as well, and foods that have a high water content, then we're also flushing things out of the liver and the kidneys and the colon that otherwise wouldn't be there. See, cancer and a lot of diseases are diseases of excess and stagnation in the body. So we have large gut, and we got all this weight and stuff stored. We don't need all that much stored energy. We're not working nearly as hard as we did during slavery and other times in our history. We don't need all that stored energy. We don't need that excess. If you put 100 pounds in your trunk, or 200 pounds or 300 pounds in the trunk of your car, you're going to burn more gas. You're gonna put more stress on your car. Okay, we're putting more stress on our bodies by eating to excess as well. So we plant-based, eat less, prepare it more slowly, avoid that microwave, avoid the frying. Some people, they'll eat vegetables, they'll eat things, but they're gonna fry it. They're gonna double fry it. And then sometimes I see these atrocities out there where they got a pork chop or whatever, they got donuts, and they got fried, whatever, these cookies, and they put all these things together. And those things some of those things were never meant to eat. They're not really designed to eat. They're not nutritious, and they undermine our health. So avoiding fried foods, avoiding things that do not have the energy in them that we need to sustain life. In fact, in some of my subsequent videos, it'll be on YouTube or be available. You're going to find, I'm going to show you the energetics of food. I'm going to show you how food has energy, food has electricity in it. And if you want there to be an electrical spark in your body, if you want there to be energy in your body, then you need to eat certain foods and avoid other foods as well. I think I've got a question. I see a hand go.
Yes, Dr. Brown, thank you. I've been listening to what's been said, and I oftentimes myself personally have warned my children to not use the microwave. But could you talk more about why it is that the microwave? I just remember personally that the food didn't taste as good when I warmed it
Right.
up in the microwave, and so I felt like there was something terribly wrong with it. But I don't know the science. Can you get a
Okay.
little bit more into that?
You know, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make a commitment to do a section on the, I want to say, the energy behind food and the microwave. But here's the thing: is that in nature, the sun cooks the food and prepares the food. So one, it takes it from the seed state or whatever state it was in to fruition, to a state that we can consume it in. Okay. And actually the sun, there are some people who they cook by the sun. They'll put things out. In fact, in some places in the world, they do cook by the sun. They'll dehydrate things in the sun, and they'll prepare the food in the sun as opposed to putting it into an oven. Now, the advent of ovens and especially cooking things a lot and having the majority of our foods cooked is, I want to say, relatively new. It's an evolutionary thing. But the microwave, there's some countries that do not cook by, prepare food, do not eat, well, they ban microwaves. They do not have microwaves at all. But that's a section that I really want to devote enough and have enough time on it. And again, I'm gonna say, check out my YouTube channel. I'm gonna have some things, should have some things attached, to this video information there, so we can get more into the energetics of food. Okay, so plant-based preparation, and I'm gonna say preparation in another sense as well. Is it here? My mother and aunts and family members, when they were selecting the food, they were very conscious about that. Okay? Either you selected from the garden, you selected locally, or from the store. They only took the best. The companies that are preparing a lot of these foods are not doing that. Okay, they're selecting things and doing it for convenience, and they got the preservatives and all kinds of things, chemicals in there. The food is not the quality that a loved one would have gotten for you. Okay, and then the other thing they did besides plan for that, prepare it a certain way, is they prayed as well. Okay, part of the energetics around the food as well is how we think of it, how we approach our food. You may have heard that it's not good for people to who are angry at you. It's not good to eat from people who are angry with you. Okay? So again, our mindset. I once studied with a man who prayed and chanted as he prepared his food. So the mindset that we have as we're doing this, and that's not happening when we go to fast food places. Okay, so again, be very aware of what we're selecting, how we're preparing it, and what mindset that we're in. Okay, and that we don't just try to eat alkaline foods and drink alkaline water with an acidic state of mind. Okay, let's do that with as much positivity as possible. We need to eat more together. We need to, I say, prepare food more together, and again, and avoid a lot of these things that we're getting from stores and from fast food places as well. Now, in 2020, as COVID hit, I made a few changes, and some of those changes resulted in my losing 37 pounds, going from 197 to 160 in a matter of months. And one of the number one things that I did, and one of the number one recommendations around food is you prepare your own food. is you prepare your own food. Probably 98% or better of what I ate, I prepared myself at home. That's number one. Two, then I was exercising every day. See, we really are very strong people. We really are very resilient. The reason why, when it comes to tennis and golf and basketball and football, so many different feats of athletic performance, and even many times the Somalians and the Kenyans and the people from Africa, as well as the African Americans, perform so well in sports is because we did come from strong people, strong stock, people who endured a lot. We have a lot of inherent strength in us that is different than other folks. Not that other folks don't perform well athletically, but we endured so much that a lot of the best of us will show up in our athletic performance. Well, we have the ability to move and exercise and do much more than we are now. So if we don't exercise enough, then we're doing our bodies and our health an injustice. So I was running every day. I got to the point where I was running 6 miles a day, 7 days a week. We've got to, in order to get to our proper weight, in order to improve our health, it's plants. The keys I say to share, there's 4 things, at least 4 things. Plants, purge, get rid of things that we don't need, get rid of the non-foods, and purge our body and of the impurities. Okay. Then perspire. We need to exercise. We need to run. We need to do some form of exercise. Ideally, it'll be a form of exercise that you will enjoy, but that you'll do on a regular basis. Ideally every day. Okay. Now, some people take a day off and they may go exercise. In some weeks, I'll exercise 6 days instead of 7 days. But if you do something every day, then your body gets accustomed to that. Your body will feel much better. Your overall health, your energy, your blood sugar, your blood pressure, your circulation, your immune system, all these systems will function so much better. You'll sleep better. You're exercising, exerting your body, perspiring every day. And then persistence. We need to stick to it. If you want to lose weight, guess what? Stick to it until you lose that weight. If you need to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds, don't quit at 10. Don't quit at 20 or 25. Get to your goal weight and then do what it takes in order to maintain that as well. And that normally means there's plants, there's purging, and that's perspiration. Don't let holidays and birthdays and celebrations and all that type of thing get in the way of you reaching your goal. Okay, because again, we have to be alive in order to prosper. Okay, we have to be alive in order to enjoy our loved ones, in order to do the best we can do in life. So eating good is a good part of it, but don't eat good or eat alkaline and think acidic. It's what you're eating as well as what is eating you. Okay, so what are your thoughts? What is your mindset? It's also putting more of a priority on your health. If you ask people what they want, a lot of people say, oh, I want a nice car, I want a house, I want this, I want that. They want stuff. Well, here's the thing is that this is our temple. The only temple we were given. We weren't given a house. We weren't given a car. We weren't given clothes. We weren't given red bottom shoes and all the type of stuff coming up. We weren't given alcohol and cigarettes, and we were given a body. We were given a temple to take care of. If we take care of the temple, it's going to take care of us. And it's going to give us the ability, and everything else is going to be added to it. It's going to give us the ability to get those things. And those things are just meant to be used. A car, there are not many one-seater cars. Cars are meant to be shared in your boat, in your house, in your whatever. Okay, but take care of this temple first, because that makes it possible. Because if this temple isn't together, then nothing else is possible. And we're going to die. We're going to be sicker sooner and die more often. Okay, so that is, so you got plants, purge, perspire, persist. Plants, purge, perspire, persist. And in the midst of it, that think about your planning, your preparation. Plan your meals. Don't just go out there and say, not knowing what you're going to eat from day to day. Plan your meals. The reason why Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben were on those product containers for so long is because African Americans represented the highest level, the gold standard, so to speak, in food preparation. If we prepared the food, it was really good. That's part of our culture. That's part of our tradition as well. There's something we can change, but we can prepare some good food, and we should be setting the standard as opposed to Chef Ramsay and whoever else is out here doing these things. Because we're always, no matter what happens in the economy, people are always going to be okay. So so my next part is going to be on. I'm going to talk about see your way to success. I'm going to talk about some things and some principles that are essential for anyone, no matter what endeavor. It's going to be essential for you in your life, in your development. So we're going to take a break here with Alkebulan Village, and we'll be back shortly.